Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on air once again to discuss a matter of critical importance. It's about history, about four individuals and their contribution to history that is very important to the Igbo people. These individuals are Apostle Suleman, a very popular Nigerian Christian pastor from Edo State. The second individual is Joseph Osayomore. He has passed on now. He was a very successful musician from Edo State as well, from the ethnic group called the Bini, who produced the Bini Empire. The third individual is the Ooni of Ife, the number one king, arguably anyway, because some people say they are laughing of Oyo. It's not my interest to know who is number one in the Yoruba world, but take it that the Ooni of Ife is one of the first two kings of the Yoruba people. The fourth one is Henry Kissinger, American Secretary of State so many years ago. These four individuals have something in common, and I'm going to discuss it this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hebrew Bible. It's one half of the Christian Bible. That is the New Testament. These two sections of the Christian Bible have something in common. They are completely different instruments. Their worldviews are different. The Old Testament, as Christians call it, called the Hebrew Bible, and the New Testament are worlds apart in worldview. If you read the Old Testament, you would feel that you are seeing the world as an Igbo, a Jew, a Karaite, a Samaritan. But if you read the New Testament, you will feel that you are looking at the world as a Yoruba person, a Greek. If this is going to bring some confusion, think about what Wole Soyinka, Nobel laureate, said about Greek culture and Yoruba culture. And the classical name of the New Testament is Greek sculpture, Greek scripture. These two sections of the Bible are very different, but they have something in common. History, genealogy. From the book of Genesis to the Gospels, you would find genealogies. This person is the father of this person is the father of this person is the father of this one. All true. Which means the Israelites who produced what Christians call the Old Testament, and the Greeks or the Greek influenced scholars that produced the New Testament saw a lot of value in respecting history. And ladies and gentlemen, he that knows history can pass through life with few mistakes if they want. But those that don't know history keep on repeating mistakes. And what do I do most of the time? I'm a lawyer by training. I'm a scholar presently, but I'm invested in history because that is my calling. That is what gives me joy. Because I have taken a good look at this life. I don't think most people have looked at life critically. What gives happiness? Get a lot of money, acquire all the women you can find. If you are a man, if you are a woman, do the same. Acquire every man that passes your way. Have children. I've looked at life critically. These things cannot make anybody with high intelligence happy. I looked at the life of the elders of the Igbos, the four bears of the Igbos. As they get older, they see into the future, see their progeny progressing, see their households living into the future and they are happy. But I do not think that majority of Igbos look at the world this way now. People are not happy. So I do what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is harvesting history, documenting it, so that my people will have a chance to live into the future. That will be my contribution. If that's my contribution, if I give them the authentic history, they will have a chance to live into the future. Now, we will get into the matter. The term Jew was not liked by Nigerians before. We all grew up knowing that the term Jew man, Jew hyphen man, is a derogatory term. It is something that is used to mock people. It was not a favorable term. It was not a term that anybody liked to be identified with. It only became contentious. It only became a term that seemed to confer advantages after it became one of the parallel identities of the Igbos. Ordinarily, the Igbos were identified as Hebrews, which is the English term for Igbo. Of course, it came with its own derogatory connotations and denotations. But after Jew became identified more frequently with the Igbos, enemies of the Igbos began to think that this could mean that the state of Israel will land planes in Nigeria and take Igbos to Israel, a first world country. So the media, starting from the BBC, began to invade Igbo universities to interrogate professors whom, I'm sorry to admit, are not informed about these subjects. They don't know these subjects. They don't know the questions of Igbo origins. They are not trained to understand it. The tools for understanding it are not residing in the universities in Nigeria. To understand them very well, even if you don't go to university, you will have a lot of access to Jewish sources. You will understand Judaism, understand Karaism, understand Samaritanism, understand Igbo culture itself to understand it. So, when people began to think that Igbos will be advantaged in one way or the other, will benefit by being identified as Jews, people began to question attachment of Jew to the Igbo identity. But when Jew man was not the primary identity, when the primary identity was just Igbo, and Jew man was used as a derogatory term, nobody claimed that they were Jew. Nobody outside the Igbo world claimed that they were Jew. It was only when, I will reiterate, after it became one of the primary identities of the Igbos. Remember, the Ashkenazi, the Sephardi, the Mizrahi are also Hebrews. Get almost all the older prayer books in America, you would find Hebrew there more than Jew. So that was what applied in the case of the Igbos. They were identified as Igbos or Igbos. And Jew man was used to identify or to signify people who were not fashionable, people who were not classy, people who were not psychedelic. But after it became an identity of the Igbo, it got into contention, it became something to argue about, it became something to fight over, because the Igbos, the straw man, the bogeyman, the victim, the man who suffers anti-Semitism of his compatriots, had begun to be identified with the term Jew. It became something to be doubted about. Now we will get into why we need to talk about these four individuals. Apostle Suleman is one of the more successful pastors, Christian clergymen in Nigeria. From Edo State, as I said, he is not Igbo. But he approached a market in Lagos and told the Igbo traders there, you are Israelites. You have all the secrets that God intends for his people. You don't need to do what other people do to prosper because you already have the secrets. He didn't go so far to say, you wrote the Bible. That we, that is, people like him, Gentiles like him, are studying and preaching. You know these secrets. You are the Israelites. Case closed. Joseph Osayomore was a very successful musician. He has passed on. He produced a song. The title of the song was Igbo no be beggar. Igbo no the beg. That is, Igbos don't seek for arms. They struggle. They work very hard. Even though the Nigerian government marginalizes them, I'm citing him. They are the Israelis of Nigeria. They thrive without any help of the government. Place them in Sahara Desert, the Sahara Desert will begin to bloom. This is one of the reasons why the state of Israel is noted in the world. The Jews from Europe, survivors of the Holocaust, went to a land that had been abandoned under the Ottoman Empire, and it began to thrive. So Joseph Osayomore, who saw, who witnessed, who knew the Igbo history in Nigeria and knew that Igbos had built cities all over non-Igbo Nigeria, said that that's what the Igbos do. He said, Igbos, you are the Israeli of Nigeria. The third individual is the Ooni of Ife, one of the two primary kings of the Yoruba people. He is not Igbo as well. He noted about 3 years ago that the Jews came from the Igbo people. In other words, that the Jews, the people we find in the state of Israel, and the Igbos are one people. Then he brought in mischief. I'm a historian. I understand where he's coming from, and I understand where he was going. He claims that the world started in Yoruba land, and that the Igbos, who were the fathers of the Jews, were there with them. He had finished with history and had entered his own agenda. His own agenda was to lure Igbos to get under his umbrella by convincing Igbos that Igbos started in Yoruba land, because Yorubas have a belief, one of their myths is that life started in Yoruba land. But he had already finished with history. The history is that the Jews and the Igbos and the Samaritans and the Karaites are siblings. He was clear about it. He said the Jews came from the Igbos. Of course, the Jews did not come from the Igbos. The Jews and the Igbos came from the Israelites. I know he will get to watch this so that he will have the clearer version of, the more truthful version of Igbo history, because everybody needs to improve. And we did not come from Yoruba land. We originally came from Uru of the Chaldeans. God moved us to the land of Israel. From there, I particularly went down to Uru Okwe. My ancestor Abraham was born in Uru of the Chaldeans. He established Jerusalem, which is Urusalem. And I, Remi Ilona, was born in Uru Okwe. The fourth individual, may he continue to be with us, is Henry Kissinger. He was very succinct, he was very clear that the Igbos are the Jews of Africa. He was talking about the Igbos during the years of darkness, during the years of sadness, during the period when 10,000 Igbos were being murdered every day. You may want to know more about this. Go to Amazon. Go to Amazon. Look up my name, Remy Ilona. Select these books and buy them. Subscribe to this channel. Begin to learn about that arm of Israel. About that arm of Israel that is called the Igbo people today. Scattered all over the world, another testament again, another identity, another factor that defines the people of Israel, scattered all over the world. We were warned, obey these commandments. If you don't obey them, you will be scattered all over the world where you will be oppressed. If you love the Igbos, subscribe to this channel, buy these books so that we can produce these books, so that these books can get into every home. With what you give us, we will make sure that these books are subsidized and the Igbos will get them for a pittance. And when the Igbos return, the world will change for the good and for the betterment of everybody. I will wind up, but not before telling us, think about what these four individuals said. Apostle Suleman, Ooni of Ife, Joseph Osayomore, Henry Kissinger. None of them was Igbo. The only person close to Igbos was Kissinger, or is Kissinger, who is Jewish. But what the four said are in sync. But we have Igbos who don't know these things, because these things are not taught in the organized religions that the Igbos adhere to, and they are not taught in the educational institutions that the Igbos go to. This information is denied to Igbos. But if you take an interest and buy our books, we are organizing informal education. We will make sure that Igbos get this information which they are starved of. Thank you. May God bless you. May He shine His light on you. May He bless me too, because I need His blessings. Bye-bye. Have a beautiful night.